size, perhaps.
All right, everybody, welcome to Jersey Jack Pinball. Today, your tour guide for the Jersey Jack Pinball Tour is Bill Grupp.
What's up, Bill?
Bill's going to take you through the facility. Two quick things, if you don't mind. Number one, you're welcome to take pictures in the facility, in the factory. The only thing that we ask out of respect for our employees, please don't single out any particular employee with pictures intentionally. Number two, it's a pinball company. We've got a lot of moving parts. So if you don't mind, probably refrain from touching anything so you don't get a finger caught or something doesn't fall on a foot. But other than that, thank you for coming in. Enjoy your tour. We are happy and excited to have you. And your tour is going to embark here in a couple minutes.
So right over in that corner, they got
So
a
I walk really fast, so try to keep up, okay?
Guns N' Roses SC and a Toy Story LE.
You gotta be a fast talker if you're gonna be a fast walker.
That's everything I can see from right
I'd love to
there.
ask him about your hat at the end.
Yeah. The hat never got.
I didn't know that.
Also, the last group's gonna get.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy your tour. Don't forget to take your tour.
We're just going to wait here for a minute for them to get out of our way.
Right?
All the new in-box games, and I think those are all toppers as well.
Yeah, they are toppers. Toppers for what game? What game did they have toppers for?
Toy Story CE.
Cool.
We got everybody? Is that everyone? All right. All right, how y'all doing?
Good.
First time for Expo, anybody? First time in a pinball factory? All right, cool. My name is Bill Grupp. I'm a software engineer here at Jersey Jack. I've been here since 2019. That means I write the rules and choreography that go into the game. I did a bunch of the rules on Wonka, I did a bunch of rules on Guns N' Roses, and I did a little bit on Toy Story. But I'm also the guy who built this factory. I'm the one who turned it from a empty warehouse into what you see today. So if you have any questions, please ask. I know a lot about this factory. I also ran this factory for a year. So I know everything that goes on here. I know how it works. I know how it's done. Please ask questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. Any questions I can answer. Let's put it that way.
How many light fixtures are there?
There are 72 in this production area.
There you go.
There are some that we are not using and have been disabled, but yes.
All right, I believe you now.
How do you go from software engineer to building a fun?
We got to get the tour moving, but I started working for Williams in 1992. I've been doing pinball for a long time. I also had a lot of help. I did not do this myself. We had several dozen people that were involved, lots of vendors for conveyor and stockroom and fencing, and I had a lot of help. So, just a couple quick things. This is an active pinball factory. We're out building machines today. We're building Toy Story LEs today. So please be careful around the equipment and the people. Please try to stay within the red lines if you can. There's a few places where I'll have you step out just so you can get a better view. But that's for your safety and for mine. We moved here in February of 2020 from Lakewood, New Jersey. This was an empty distribution warehouse when we took over. It's about 51,000 square feet total for this area, another 10,000 or so for engineering over on the other side. By June of 2020, we were building Guns N' Roses pinball machines here. So, today we were building Toy Story. Yes?
What encouraged you to move from Jersey to here?
So there's many factors. The biggest is having engineering and production under the same roof. Another big factor is a lot of the vendors for pinball are based in Chicago.
Right.
Better supply of labor here. There's lots of reasons. The biggest reason is to get everybody under one roof. So, any other questions? All right, cool. Let's start the tour. So, this is our shipping department. Finished games are stored here until they ship out. And somebody dropped off, that's a crate of glass. That wasn't here the last time I came through for the tour. But so these are completed games. These are all Toy Story games waiting to ship out. A lot of these will ship out today or tomorrow. We don't have a gigantic area for stockpiling games because every game we built is sold. So these games will go out as soon as they are built. with the exception of games that ship overseas, which generally ship in containers. So shipping containers will hold either 33 or 66 games, and we'll have to wait until we have that number of games before we'll order the container to ship them out. So,
How many machines do you make a year?
I honestly don't know.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I honestly don't know.
And what are
Thousands.
Come on, you can give us a better answer.
but what are your export markets?
About 30% is export right now, and that varies per game. Guns N' Roses had a really strong export. Australia bought something like 5 containers of games from us. Really strong overseas.
Wow.
So generally about 30%.
And Australia is your biggest.
Well, it was for
foreign
Guns N'
market?
again. It was for Guns N' Roses. Germany is another big market for us, and it varies based on the theme. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guns N' Roses LEs.
So over here is our cabinet
Guns N'
line.
Roses.
We'll get to see more of that later. I'm just pointing it out as we walk by. This is more storage area. Some fixtures, some parts of the games, coin doors, stuff like that are stored here. Glass. These crates are full of glass. And we'll see this in a minute, so we'll get to it.
Assemblies, Hobbit art, very cool.
Guns N' Roses and Toy Story playfield
All
right
right.
there.
So, pinball machines have roughly 1,000 unique parts. So, first thing I do is get the parts in the house. Doors 12 and 13 are receiving docks. Every part comes in. It is checked to make sure we have the right quantity, the right part arrived. Goes to our quality control station. This is QC. They check every part to make sure it matches the print, including playfields. This is a station where we can examine every playfield that comes in. Playfields are one of the most critical items we have. Everybody wants to, look. The first thing you see when you walk up to the game is going to be the playfield. So this station is set up just so we can check every single playfield. After everything has been through QC, it enters our stock room. The stock room holds all the parts for the current games in production and many of the parts for the past games we built. So we're building the 7th Jersey Jack game right now. So almost 7 games worth of parts are stored in that stock room. So there's a lot.
used for spare parts for
Customer service. Yes. Yep. So, and some parts are common between games, right? Flippers, all the same. Jets, slings, same for all games. Any questions? Keep the questions coming. I like the questions.
Yeah, look at the playfields all stacked in there.
Stories, Guns N' Roses, Toy Story, more guns. That's a Dowden right there, on top.
So, if you've never worked in a pinball factory before, this is what you start with, is a blank playfield. This is the first piece you need when you build a pinball machine. This is how they come from their vendor. It's just a blank playfield. There's no parts on it whatsoever. So this happens to be a Toy Story CE playfield. We are building CEs right now. So the first step is to take these playfields and start adding parts to them.
who makes them?
These are all built by Mirko.
American.
So this conveyor right here, this assembly line, this is the part we moved from New Jersey. So this is the entire line they had at New Jersey. To give you an idea how much bigger this factory is, everything else beyond that is new stuff we purchased for this building. So,
Everything beyond this row right here?
yep. This
Oh,
is
dang.
This is the New Jersey production line that we moved.
One line and then you got way
And
very
everything
cool.
else is new stuff that we purchased for here.
Wow. So we see they expanded it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines behind it.
Well,
Very cool.
I'll tell you more about that in a minute.
That's really
But there's a lot of conveyor past this.
Yes.
So
Very cool.
this wall is generally fastener parts, nuts, screws, bolts, stuff like that for production. And there's a few other things thrown in, but generally these are screws and nuts
And I can't
used
help
by the
myself, I'm a
factory,
child.
used
Please
by
don't
the
do this,
production.
but every time I walk by these things, I have to touch them because I'm a child. But that's okay.
So this is our hardware wall. So when the production line needs screws, nuts, bolts, they can just go grab whatever they need right here. Everything's organized by part number.
Oh, that's awesome.
They don't have to make a request for them. They're just here. They can grab them.
Very cool.
iPads.
I need that at home when I'm working on my games.
All right, I'm just going to hang out for a minute to get these guys out of our way.
How do you do your advertising and marketing?
So
iPads for
it
the
varies
Guns
based on game, right? Disney themed license, we market different than a Guns N' Roses license, right? Guns N' Roses We get a lot of support from the band. Disney, we have to do our own marketing, and we have to have a specific license for how we market stuff, right? We have to acquire the license to be able to produce a commercial for our product. But we also have nearly 50 distributors, and the distributors are the ones that we want doing most of the marketing because they're building the relationships with the customers to sell the games. So we support the distributors with marketing materials, promotional items.
And how many distributors are there?
About 50 across the world. Yep.
Notoriously famous for being very strict with licensing.
Very strict with their.
How did you manage to get licensing for this?
Well, Jack is the one who does all the licensing work for us. So he has worked really hard to acquire the licenses we have. Okay, so say hi to Martha. I promise this is the last time, my last word. So say hi. So Martha is our customer service representative. If you order parts from us, Martha is the one that fulfills that order. She's really good. So 1,000 parts to a pinball machine. All the parts start here. They come out of the stock room through this area, and they get brought out to either sub-assembly or to the main line, or to back box cabinet wherever we need them. So first thing you start with building a pinball machine. You start with the playfield. We add what we call mylars to the playfield. It's a clear plastic sheet that's added in specific areas to reinforce high use areas. So places where the ball drops or where the ball's going to scrub across are protected with a mylar. The mylar can be replaced if it gets damaged, and it protects the playfield. The next step is farther back. The person is installing T-nuts and the nuts for the jets that protrude through. So again, things that we install in the playfield before you start bolting parts on. The last step over here is to install the brackets that mount the playfield to the cabinet. So just kind of see what they're doing. All right, and then so this is the start of the production line. We've got line A and line B. We have 2 production lines. We can run the same game on both lines, or we can run 2 different games. Right now we're running Toy Story CE over here, Toy Story LE over here. Kind of taking a break today so you guys can walk through and see everything up close. So. Did everybody still hear me? All right, cool. So this is our rotisserie that we use to hold the playfields while we're building them. It allows easy access to the bottom side, but can still be secured so it's strong enough you can still use the tools to install the parts. Each of these stations has what we call a storyboard. Is the picture up on top that depicts where the parts are. It has all the part number listings. This is set up. This one shows a little better down here. So it's color coded with where the parts go on the playfield. And has all the part numbers and the quantity used for each of the stations. This is set up so a new operator can easily get up to speed with how to install the parts at this station, or so if we're switching between different models, it's easy again to get up to speed.
Where'd you get these rotisseries?
They are custom built for us.
Oh, who makes them?
It's a local welding shop. We have the design, and we take bids from different welding shops for the price. But it's our design, and we have to
consider selling them.
They are really expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in the range of $1,000 a piece. Okay. They're super expensive.
$1,000 a piece?
Yes.
That's not bad.
In the center between the lines, we have sub-assembly areas. This is an area for items that are common to every game we build. So they're building things like slingshots, bumpers, auto launch, trough, kickback. Things you have on every single game are built here. And it's set up so that once they're built, come on, keep moving that. There we go. So they'll build the item in sub-assembly, they'll put them on a rack right here. It is ready to grab to be installed on the line. So, we're looking at items of lean manufacturing. We're trying to reduce the movement of games, movement of parts that go into the games. So they're built here, stored here, onto the game. So here we're building.
The metal parts is here as well, like the metal parts for like this kicker.
Yep.
You make those here.
No, we just assemble these here. We have vendors that create the parts, that form the parts. So this is like 6 parts, and we assemble them here, but we don't make the parts.
But you do the design, right?
Yep.
You do the,
Yep.
you deliver the vendor
Yep.
the DXF.
We do the design. Yep. Yep. We do the design for all the parts. There's some parts that are standard across the pinball industry that we use other people's design, but they has to meet our standards.
Because the patents on a lot of them have gone, right? Over
Patents
the years.
on all the stuff that I
So
grew
all
up
the slingshots and
Yes.
all the major stuff,
Yes.
drop targets, all that
Yes.
stuff's kind of gone.
So for the first part of the production line, there's about 10 stations, and this is generally things that go on either the top or the bottom, or at some part both. So a lot of the stations here are where the rotisserie will be flipped back and forth as they need to install parts. And generally these are things that are common on every game.
Yep. Flip recoils, troughs, slingshots, pop bumpers. Ah, this one's got some progress.
So, and then as you get farther down the line, you get to parts that are more specific to the game. So this one has some more of the lockup mags, it has the wheel, it has the jump wrap, it has the gabby mag. Things that are more specific to the theme of the game and get added later.
There's the very cool.
So this is one of our solder stations. Just trying to make sure everybody can hear.
Yeah. Not if I stand right here.
Oh, of course. So this is one of our solder stations. We solder the switch harness and the coil harness, and that's mostly for reliability reasons. The solder connection's a lot stronger, especially in areas like the flipper where there's a lot of vibration. We use the solder because it's a lot stronger connection and lasts, longer across the life of the game. The lamp stuff is all done with connectors now. It's either a RJ45 or a Molex connector, but switches and lamps are still soldered. So, like this station, is there a question? All right, this station is where we build the Gabby mech. This is the Gabby mech that's in the Toy Story game. So it's 2 coils and a switch. But an item like this is somewhat complicated, and we'll actually put it together and we'll test it right here. There's a test fixture for making sure it does what it's supposed to do before it's put on the game. Much easier to test it, make sure it works. After it's installed the game, there's a lot more work to try and fix it if it's not working correctly. So as you move down to this side, generally the playfields stay right side up at this point, and this is where we start adding more of the decorations, things like the ramps, the figures, the plastic parts, everything that makes it themed to the game are added at this point.
Look at all
Look
those
at all the
plastics.
plastics. Yep. Key fobs.
Look at them all down there too.
Key fobs. Yeah. Good thing you guys are giving key fobs.
So,
yeah.
Key fobs.
and then this is a completed LE playfield. So everything has been installed on it at this point. But if you look at the bottom side, it's still a little messy on the bottom. So the last step on the playfield line is install these support tubes. These allow the game to slide into the cabinet, and then they'll do the work to dress the wires so they stay away from the moving parts. So this game is ready to go into a cabinet now.
How do you do your wire forms?
Wire forms.
Like the returns on there?
These. He's talking about the half trays.
So these are designed in-house. We'll build a prototype using steel and welding them together. And then once the design is approved, we'll have them built by a vendor. There's 3 or 4 local vendors that will build them. We take quotes based on the complexity of the ramp. Some of them work better with simple ones, some work better with more complex ones. And then there's another vendor that does the powder coating. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the distribution of the electronics? of the game.
What is the?
The electronics, the boards, because in the past there was a lot of boards in the back box of the games.
Okay.
Everything was wire onto the playfield, but I see that there's a lot of electronics on the board.
So our system uses a central board for switches and coils, which is the I/O board that's in the back box. So that's one board that controls all of the solenoids and all of the switches. Right? It has the inputs for switches and the outputs for coils. All of our lamp boards are done off this controller. So this is the playfield controller for lamps. And so the lamps are all run through these RJ45 connectors. So all the boards you see are just for lamps.
Okay.
With the exception of, we have some boards that have lamps and sensors on them. So for example, the Guns N' Roses skill shot, so the 6 lamps on the right also have a sensor for each lamp. So that board has some switches and lamps on it.
But everything that controls the solenoids is off the.
Yes.
And that has anything to do with the electromagnetic noise produced by the coils?
Not. It's very little to do with that. Yes.
Okay.
To be honest, the bigger noise we have comes off of this lamp stuff.
The lamps.
Yeah, the electronic. The noise problem we have to deal with comes off the lamps. There's much more traffic.
Are those 2812B type of lamps? LED controlled by signals? That's why it's noisy?
Yes. So LED is controlled by an I2C bus.
I2C?
Yeah. Any other questions?
This might make half the group mad. Halfway, can we switch the lines because the back can't hear any?
It's fine with me.
They may not like that.
Yeah, come up front. You
I'd
want
rather
to
hear half of that story than none.
come up front? All right, so now we know how to build playfields. All right, cool. Keep moving. Must be. Okay.
Got all the wire forms down there.
Well, this will get everyone closer, like
Yes.
more space, so that everyone will hear a bit.
Yes.
Look at all this. Look at all those done. Those are Toy Story CE playfields that are done.
Over there, routing away, routering out
Yes.
the legs.
Fast enough for what we
Those are for they go on the bottom and the speakers go on. See the hole in the bottom of the cabinet? So those are
Okay,
what the
can everybody
speaker
hear me now?
mounts to set it up on.
All right, cool. All right, so that's the playfield line. The other 2 major components that we have are the back box and the cabinet. Cabinet line starts here. We start with a generic cabinet. This cabinet can be made into a toy store. Guns N' Roses, the dial in, the cabinet's all generic. The only difference is the artwork. So the first step is to put on the artwork. We use either a vinyl decal or a rad cal. Today we're doing rad cals because we're building CEs. Everybody know what a rad cal is?
No.
So rad cal is a very fancy decal. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's got a very durable, clear plastic cover over it.
So that's what she's routering. She's
It's,
routing the rad cal.
Maybe it's like a
So it
16.
goes around the
It's pretty thick. I mean,
because it's an upgrade you can get on the machines.
He said that.
More like a translite poster kind
it's
of.
thick. Rad cals, yes. RAD, rad, radical, rad cal, yeah. So, and then they're really shiny.
You just glue them.
They're adhesive.
Yes, so you have to have the nerve to do it right the first time, right?
So they're super shiny too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh wow.
Never seen rad cows? Yeah, it's more of like a plastic poster, but it's really.
All right,
What, red?
so cabinet line, yes.
I'm guessing that's the brand.
I was wondering why she was routing. She was routing
Leave that
on rad
protective
cow.
layer on just for that case. So cabinets, they install the speaker, the shaker, the transformer, the harness for the flipper buttons, all that stuff installed in the cabinet. All right, let's keep moving. I don't want to miss your bus.
I'm gonna miss the bus. Yo, look at the Guns N' Roses back boxes.
There are other vendors that we use.
That's an LE.
Head right in here. Okay, good stuff out.
Go in here.
Ooh.
Get everybody in so we can see. Step right up. All right, so final step of the playfield assembly is what we call playfield test. And the test is a bit of a misnomer. It's really the place where we can do the final steps that you can't do until you add power to the game. So for example, the slingshot. Slingshot's a switch and a coil. And over there we can make sure the switch works, we can make sure the coil works, but until you put the two together, it's not a slingshot, right? So we do stuff over here that you have to have power applied to make sure they work. Same thing with the jets, right? It's a switch and it's a coil, but if it doesn't do this, it's not a pinball part. So at this station, Josh is over working away, they test every single switch. They test every single lamp, they test every single coil to make sure they work. They also make sure the flippers are aligned correctly, and things like so we test all the lamps. Every lamp is an RGB lamp. So red, green, blue. If you don't have red, green, and blue, you cannot get white. So if this lamp doesn't have red working, right, you cannot get white. So you have to test every single lamp. Can't do that over there. You have to do it here once you're powered up.
Is that a PC?
Yes, this is the same electronics that are in the game as it ships, right? This is the back box. This is the same electronics that ship with the game,
Okay.
right? This is the same software that you have in your game when you are playing the game.
It's exactly the same software.
Yeah,
So you can see this in your game if you...
yes. Every single test that we use in the factory is available in your game at home.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
What,
Any
what,
questions?
what operating system is that running? Linux?
This is running Linux, yes.
So you said this is, you said you worked at Williams?
92, I started at Williams.
So some Williams, they have a lot of like, Circus Voltaire has a lot of connectors that aren't connected to anything. And people always say that those are test points.
No, none of them are test points. Sorry, not
I
true.
know you don't do it that way
That's
here.
true. So so on the Williams games, if you see connectors, especially ones that are at the back of the playfield, generally those are used for connectors to connect two wires that are too long for what they could cut at the time. Williams used an automatic cutting system where they would just program in how long they wanted the wires to be cut.
No, I mean there are a lot of
Yes,
that nothing's plugged into.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are used just to connect two wires
okay.
at the playfield.
I got you.
They had a maximum of 120 inches they could cut on their machine. Anything that needed longer than that, they'd have to make a connection. And the easiest one they could make was the Molex crimp connector.
Put two together and stick it in.
And the stick it on, yes. So anywhere you see at the back of the playfield a giant connector with nothing plugged in, that's just somewhere where they needed a longer wire and they connected it together. So Demolition Man, Corvette, Dirty Harry, games I worked on, I was a lead programmer. Also, I worked at Funhouse, it was a trail game we did in Germany. Yep. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, so we built playfields, back box, our cabinet line ends right here. Cabinets are tested before they're put together. Behind me is the back box line. This is the grand central area. Every major component of the pinball machine ends here, and we assemble them into one unit here. So take a cabinet, put the back box on, put the playfield in, connect all the wires, and you have a new pinball machine. So at this point in the terminal, they'll enter in the... Once they're all connected, they'll enter in the playfield number and the cabinet number, and it becomes one unit that's tracked by serial number. So this is Grand Central. Everything is designed intentionally to end here so we can connect it.
How many man hours typically go into the design of a software platform for a game? I mean, I know that's
I've never
staggering.
tracked man hours. We generally say the development cycle is about 9 months of software time, and that's 2 to 3 programmers generally. I don't even want to track man hours. Sometimes we sleep here, so. So this is the back box line. Back box, just like cabinets, they come in a generic box. We add decals or radicals. Toy Story also adds a colored T molding to the edge, so blue for LE and red for CE. Every game has a PC in it, so we're building one computer for every pinball machine that we build. And then the back boxes are plugged in and powered up to make sure they run before they head over to the line. Over on this side is another sub-assembly area. These are for bigger sub-assemblies, things like mini playfields. The upper playfields for Toy Story are built here, and some of the more complicated ramps. So some ramps will have switches or optos, some of them have lights attached, so more complicated sub-assemblies are done over here.
When I zoom in.
Against the wall over here is where we're building toppers today. So Toy Story toppers are built here, they're tested, and then they go in a box. The toppers will be shipped separate from the game, so they're never attached to the game until the customer gets them. So we have to test them before they go in the box.
Is this where your designers cut their own playfields for
Yes.
new ones they're
So-
trying and testing?
This is our wood shop behind us, where we build prototypes. We also use the wood shop for building fixtures for the factory. So we'll build something to hold apart so they can screw parts into it on a workbench. We can build any part for a pinball machine that we need to. This is the wood shop. Next to it's the metal shop, same thing. Bridgeport, lathe, laser cutter, welding. We can do any part for a pinball machine in-house if we need to. Not in production numbers, but for prototypes.
That's what I figured. I looked in there. Like, oh, there's the Toy Story 4 topper. Like all the parts for it. Yeah. My favorite Jack game.
So models, the metal shop is over here. Again, this is an area used mostly by the game designers for prototyping parts. Behind me is the top
Dixie's
secret
house.
area where we test new devices, so life tests. The tests will be set up for new
such
toys, new
news. Yeah, they're
devices,
doing
things that
stuff.
interact with the ball. We'll test them for somewhere around 1 million cycles to make sure they'll hold up. Basically, we'll test them until they fail. So we know. Can't show you what's behind the curtain.
Tell us what's behind
It sounds like it plays amazing.
Yeah. So this area is what we call the hospital
wizard
line.
mode.
This is just a small area where we can fix stuff that is too long to work in the factory, or things like this game behind you, the Toy Story. That's a shipping damage game. So we put it in the box. It looked perfect, and then the shipper dropped it. So I don't know if you've ever tried to fix something that is a lot of work to fix the game that has broken glass.
What was that? What happened to it?
They dropped it and the glass broke
Oh,
in it. That's what
shoot.
He's saying.
Yeah, you can still see the glass shards in it. I didn't see that.
This is where the next 3 games are being designed. So I can't tell you what's in there, but that's where it's being done.
Do not enter.
Richie's in there.
I heard him in there playing it. The next magic toy.
All right, I don't want you guys to miss your bus, but this is the final position on the factory line. This is final test. So now we have everything put back together. Back box cabinet, playfield. We need to test every single thing again. Every single switch, every single lamp, every single coil. This is also the step where we'll do final quality inspection. We're looking at the artwork. We're looking at the back glass. We're looking at the display. Make sure everything's perfect.
How big did you say the factory?
This is 51,000 square feet for the factory.
51,000. Wow.
Jersey was about, I think it was about 42,000. Still big. How many guns are open? I don't know. Yeah, they're still selling them, so I don't know.
We need one of
The
those.
last step is
I love that game.
here we'll put in the glass, the back glass, the cash box. Head just hold it down.
CE's
I
right
don't know
there.
what's
Wow.
from us, but any other questions?
Dude, those rad cows are very good looking.
All right, well, thank you for coming today. If you have any other questions, I'll be at Expo later. So,
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Thanks.
Of course. Thank you. Expo later.